robots getting into the real world and solving practical problems and providing solutions that people are willing to pay for. And that's how you can start building businesses that are profitable. The good news is that we are not alone. We don't have to solve all the problems ourselves because you guys know better than anyone else, there is enough very challenging problems in robotics to solve. But fortunately, there are other businesses and other industries, from the mobile cell phone industry to video gaming industry, connectivity and so on, that are solving some problems in a different domain that we can completely benefit from. I mean, a lot of us know how valuable the 3D sensing is for robotics, and when Kinect came out, and of course for the Xbox, we as roboticists were very excited for the first time to see a very powerful sensing technology done at price points that are really making it affordable. So, many technologies that are helping us, and I think there's a feeling, and I don't think I'm the only one feeling this way, but I think the community feels there's a confluence of technologies that are coming together, combined with the things that we are doing that are specific to the robotics community, like autonomous navigation and manipulation and so on, that are opening up the opportunities that were not there before. So I know we have been in this field for many years, and one of the sayings in the VC community is that robotics has always been 3 years away from explosive growth, right? But I do believe that today we are at a point where this is happening, and there's a lot of enabling things that are happening in this community and other communities that are helping us to allow this to happen. And I'll talk about examples of that. We are getting smarter, and our robots are getting smarter. So one of the things that's very important is to not focus on the technology itself, but focus on the problem that the technology can help solve. End users don't buy technologies, they're buying solutions. So in the consumer domain, one of the areas we focused on is that in the home, particularly, the dishwasher was probably the latest innovation in automation in the home. That was the most successful, right? Since then, there has not been huge innovation in terms of doing chores that people hate doing, and it's a waste of time, and it's repetitive, and every day you have to do it, until robotic floor cleaners. And so that's one of the things we focused on, and as a result, you know, we have a pretty significant, sizable business in robotic floor care. And you guys are familiar with the 3 Ds of robotics. One of them is dangerous tasks. Sending our warfighters to protect our country and putting their life at risk, obviously, is something that we think robots can help with, and we'll talk about that. And longer term, as a guiding star for us, we believe that there needs to be a better solution to taking care of our elderly population. Not only in the US, everywhere in the world, the baby boomer generation is reaching the retirement age, and it's causing massive societal problems that is hard to imagine how we're going to solve. And we believe at iRobot that robotics can have a significant role to play to add real value and impact people's lives, to allow them to live independently with assistance from robots. So briefly about the company. You guys probably are familiar with it. iRobot was founded in 1990, and it took about 10 years of perseverance and passion to find our first successful story. And we learned a lot through this, right? And one of the biggest things we learned was how to focus on solving practical problems in a way where the cost of solving it is lower than the value it provides. And that's how we focus on building businesses. So we developed a Packbot business, and then grew that around the defense and security business, and then Roomba, which was a big success, and have grown that now to a significant size. And iRobot last year did about $436 million in revenue, and growing at a pretty healthy rate, in the double teens growth rate. And out of the revenue you see, we spend about 15 of that on pure R&D, 15% of that on pure R&D, right? So it's pretty significant investment. Even when you compare to bigger companies that are now beginning to foray into robotics, robotics is a small focus for them. For iRobot, it's our entire focus. Every cycle spent in our company is focused around building technologies and products in robotics. So, with that, here's an overview of the portfolio of things we do.
iRobot. iRobot.
So this is a campaign that iRobot is driving. First of all, the campaign shows the number of different things that we have in our portfolio that have generated successful and profitable businesses. But also this campaign is something we consider as an investment to help raise awareness about what robots can do. And it's very well received when we do our research. Our marketing team does the research, very well received, and it resonates really strongly with the consumers. And one of the things, as I mentioned, in terms of the biggest challenge in my experience and in my learning in building evolution robotics and now participating in iRobot, and I think I shared that with Colin, who started iRobot and brought it to where it is today, is that one thing is to solve and develop cool technologies in the lab, but it's something completely different to take that and bring it into the market and provide value to your end user. To take an example for this community that's very versed in robotics, so in 2001, when Evolution Robotics started, I had a scientific advisory board of very prominent professors, some of which are here, including my own professor, Henry Christensen, whom I'm sure you have met through this event. And one of the areas we focused on was navigation. We said navigation is core building block to any kind of robot. We need to be able to know how to go from point A to point B. And the answer from academia was, it's a solved problem, right? And what that meant was that we had a $20,000 laser rangefinder, $10,000 of computing, and we could show in a lab corridor that the robot can go down and up the corridor and know where it is. Well, 13 years later, I can say now we are at the point where navigation actually has made it to a level of maturity which is going to impact our products. It's ready for the real world. And today I'll give you two examples of products that we have put in the market that are deploying autonomous navigation without any human intervention. So taking technology from demonstrations into products is what is necessary to fulfill the role of innovation, right? And this, as someone with a scientific background, may sound like a cop-out, but my definition of innovation, successful innovation, is that when your work turns into dollar signs. Without the dollar signs, you cannot really justify going and doing more work. So that is in our core DNA at the company as part of how we drive innovation. So for instance, developing a $100,000 SLAM technology is one thing, but developing a $10 navigation solution for a home robot is something different. And it could require a complete paradigm shift. So we just recently announced that we have shipped our 10th million robot, and we are proud to see that this market continues growing. And as a matter of fact, robotic floor care today represents 15% of all floor care, which is a $6 to $7 billion market, right? So we are chipping at it, and we are improving our capabilities. Our vision is that in the near future, you will not have to deal with cleaning your floors anymore manually. The same way where you set up a sprinkler system in your backyard, especially in California where dry weather can hurt your grass, is what you care about is look out and you see green grass and you're happy. The technology or the solution is seamless. The same way we believe robotics will take care of clean floors, and you will have clean floors all the time seamlessly. And when that happens, if the floor care manufacturers haven't waken up, they will probably not be in business. So, in the defense and security industry, this is really about keeping our people out of harm's way and allowing our warfighters to be able to protect our country by use of tools that enable them from staying out of the harm's way. One of the products that you may know of is First Look, which is this device. And it has 4 cameras on it and a very reliable RF communication link that the warfighter can remotely use. And of course, in this domain, these things have to be very rugged and have to sustain, as you see there, going through buildings or down the buildings and be able to operate as Matt is helping me do there with the robot. So it provides eyes and ears for our soldiers to be able to penetrate areas which is very scary to send people to. For instance, caves in Afghanistan. This is from a true mission where usually the standard mode of operating would be to put a rope around the waist of the soldier and have him go blindly into this dark, scary cave to see what they could find. And with the products that we have with PackBot and First Look, you're able to benefit from the sort of remote presence of it and stay out of harm's way. Here's another example.
Towards the AED. The B1000.
That's a real footage from real conflict area.
I got it. I got that on video. Poor robot.
We save lives, and we are very proud about the work that our defense and security business is doing in this line. And we have huge supporters and constantly get letters and cards from parents that have their kids in line of fire, or even the soldiers that have experienced using our products. So this is really saving lives, and we are going to do more of that. And we are very happy to see that we are contributing to helping our soldiers stay out of harm's way. And of course, there are other areas for disaster response. So what we do is with these products, we also try to see what are the areas where you really don't want to send people. Well, Fukushima was a good example of it. And we did provide our robots to go there and help the crew to try to go into the nuclear reactor that was melting down and figure out and take radiation readings and so on and understand how to shut it down. As a matter of fact, we got response from the Japanese officials thanking us for helping them to be able to shut this down in a safe manner. And for the soccer or football fans, for FIFA, we are working with the authorities, local authorities in Brazil, where we're going to have our robots helping them secure this event and similar events using the robots. And as a matter of fact, one of the things that happened, I had just joined iRobot when this happened, when the marathon bombing happened, and I was actually on a conference call with Colin, and he said, I just got a message, I gotta go. And as soon as he heard the news, we deployed our people with our robots and made it available to local police forces that was used for investigation. And one of the things that was really hard for them to manage was when the bombs went off, people just dropped everything and ran, and now you have a field with a bunch of packages. How are you going to deal with that, right? I mean, if you had 1 package, 2 packages, 3 packages, maybe you could send in people, but how do you deal with tens or hundreds of packages, right? So we had robots that we helped to assist our local police force to go investigate these things. Now, a new area for us that we are very excited about is telepresence and the promise of telepresence. And iRobot, of course, has done telepresence for years. And you can also see by way of our defense security business, we are doing that. And so now we are at the point where we have fully autonomous robots because we feel that's a key enabler, and remote control of the devices is not the right interface for these products. But we have now launched RP Vita together with a partner in the healthcare domain, which is for stroke patients and per patients with severe condition coming to the emergency room that require a specialist. A specialist may not be there or available there. We can have the specialist beam in, connect with the patient and make a diagnosis and change people's lives, save people's lives. As a matter of fact, anecdotally, my neighbor turns out to be the head of neurology for our local hospital. We installed a robot in her facility, and 2 months later she came to me and said, yesterday I got an elderly woman coming to my to the emergency room. I was home. They called me. I took my iPad, logged into the robot, talked to the patient, provided the right diagnosis, and the day after she was fully recovered. So there's a golden window of 3 hours. If you can get to the patient in those 3 hours and administer the right medication, the patient has the chance of 100% recovery. After that window, for every minute that passes, you're diminishing the chances. So one of the things we would like to do is that now we are announced earlier this year that we are going to launch an AVA 500 product, which is a business collaboration robot for enterprises. As a matter of fact, I'm myself a user because after Evolution was acquired, we kept our office in Pasadena, so I operate out of Pasadena, and I have to commute to Boston all the time. I really appreciate this product because I'm using it every day. So right now, I would like to actually beam in to Bedford and do a live demonstration here and see if I can connect to someone over there. So there is an iPad app, very simple app. I start it, and it gives me a list of areas that I can go to. Let me see. I'll select going to the product manager for AVA 500, and I say check in. The metaphor we use for this telepresence is teleportation. So I don't have to drive the robot to get there, because it really is very tedious to do that. Executives don't have time to spend time driving the robot, avoiding obstacles and so on, and then they want to hop to another meeting and do the same. I teleport, and the robot starts driving, gives me information about how long it takes to get back, and then when it gets there, it will just connect back to me and allow me to have an interaction. So it just teleports me to the location I want to be. It delivers telepresence to where I need it, when I need it. And I will briefly later talk about the autonomous navigation technology which we have developed. For RP Vita, it's the same platform, and for the medical industry, we had to get FDA approval for these devices, right? And we got it. That's a big win for robotics community to have these devices now become medically approved, to have an autonomous robot driving around in a hospital and be fully trusted that it will get the job done. So now the robot is there and it's asking me to teleport. So I'm gonna teleport, and we will see it calling back on this device. And the wireless networks, of course, have varying quality and delays and so on. And in this case, we partnered up with Cisco, who really knows this domain. So we have an enterprise, secure, high quality, high definition bandwidth and interaction with our system that is using the, it's called the EX60 or EX90 Cisco device. So let's see, I'm gonna drop. Hey Marcio, sorry to catch you by surprise.
That's all right. Hi, Paolo. How's the act going?
Yes, you're on stage here. So Marcio is our product manager for this product, and he comes from the video conferencing domain, having done very successful companies in this domain with some of the big brand names you know. And Marcio, tell us a couple of words about what you think about AVA and the benefits it provides.
Sure, yeah, we're very excited to bring the 8500 to market. You've probably talked, Paulo, about autonomous mobility capability. So the product just gets you there. You don't have to necessarily drive through a facility you don't know about. You just get where you want to go. And it's extremely easy to use. And for an enterprise customer, that's critical. When you finish the session, the robot just goes back to the charging station, for example. You don't have to drive it back to the charging station. So it just delivers the ultimate ease of use. And obviously, as an enterprise tool, we partner with Cisco to deliver the Telepresence capability, which makes it high definition video and audio, and security compatible with enterprise standards. So customers can manage the solution in a way that fits their practices for security and other IT management tools.
Marcio, do you think it's possible to put a beacon on Colin so I can track where he is in the office?
We're working on that.
Do you know if he's in the office?
He's in the office. I've seen him today, so I'm sure if you go there, he'll be there.
I'm gonna go over there. So thank you very much, Marcio. I'm gonna.
Oh, thank you.
So on the map, I basically tell the robot now to go to Marcio, to Colin's office. And the wireless, as you know, wireless can be spotty in most buildings, right? And the autonomous navigation, one of the other benefits it has, it can go blindly through those spots. If you're manually driving it, you will end up having robots just dying in the dead zone. I'm gonna go to Colin's desk over here. Oops. Hey, Colin.
Hey, how you doing?
Good, how are you? Let me sit down.
Yeah.
Or
It's a lot easier doing this from you're back in Boston.
that's right. So, Colin, you're on stage, by the way, if you didn't notice.
Okay, hello everybody. Sorry I'm not out there today.
So, Colin, we are showing off the Ava 500 here, and I can see the wireless connection in your office is a little bit spotty, but we are doing fine. So, the other thing I was going to talk to the audience about later is about our strategic interest in manipulation. Could I ask you to give us a couple of words about that?
Sure, I'd like have a hard time talking with a whiteboard, so why don't you stand up and come on over here. One of the cool things about this robot, and Paulo and I do this most every day, is we can collaborate sitting at the table or at the whiteboard. Manipulation obviously is one of the two unique things that robotics brings to the party. First is moving around, the second is being able to manipulate your environment. And I think that the areas where we're going to start to see manipulation becoming a practical part of products are in these three areas: navigation, manipulation, and interaction. Obviously, we're demonstrating navigation today. The best navigating robot will be able to get anywhere you want to be. And here on my little map, we've got these things, doors, that are a problem as far as autonomous robots getting around. And so that as we think about an early win for manipulators, it's going to have to do with opening doors so that robots like the one we're talking and operating with now will be able to have better access. Obviously, interaction, what am I doing here that the robot can't currently do is point. The idea that you can raise your hand and actually use gestures effectively might seem strange, but as we try to make the robots better avatars for people, it's going to be very important. And then manipulation, right now, obviously, the land of manufacturing uses manipulators, very expensive and sophisticated manipulators today. But if we can simplify the manipulation task, perhaps carrying trays around instead of generic object grasping, we could get the price point down to a situation where robots could actually be sold commercially in large numbers. And I think that's a very interesting area. So anyways, that's my thoughts on manipulation. Paul, back to you.
I appreciate it, Colin. Thank you very much. I'm going to talk more about that, and thanks for your time. I'm going to jump off here.
Okay.
All right. So as I jump off, the robot automatically drives back to its charging station. You have opportunities also for use calendaring to book a time to have the robot go to a certain meeting for you at a certain time. So you can use that. All right. So we'll talk through that. So we have come a long way now, right? So these are things we have been working on for the last 30, 40 years. I would say navigation is at a point today which is going to impact a lot of our products. And so in the past, when we were developing robots, we had to build everything on our own. We had to build connectivity, sensor systems, drive systems for the mobility, displays and user interface and voice recognition and so on. And then we had to start building navigation on top of that and vision and recognition and so on. I think we have come a long way where we have gone higher up in the value chain. So we have basic mobility platforms that can very smartly and intelligently navigate around the environment. And on top of that, you can imagine it's much easier to build applications, right? But there's only so far we as a community can go when you can make robots go from point A to point B. We believe the missing link in robotics today is manipulation. The ability to physically interact with the environment is what sets robots apart from every other technology in the world, right? We have cloud computing and mobile cell phones and all these other technologies that are moving bits around. Robotics has the promise of moving atoms around, and that requires manipulation of physical interaction. So the areas of focus strategically for us are in these three areas: navigation, manipulation, perception. Navigation, there's still more work to do, but we have the basic technologies and mature technologies that are in products today. Manipulation is still big open questions there. One of the things I would like to ask any community that's working on robotics is that if you're doing anything that you think is interesting in manipulation, we would like to talk to you. We are very much open to working together. We don't have to reinvent the wheel. We don't have to solve all the problems in the world. As I said, this is a big enough challenge for all of us to work for the rest of our lives to solve problems. And of course, perception is the enabling both to manipulation and navigation, but also things beyond that. So let me give you a little bit of highlight. So the navigation technology you saw here, the robot you deployed in a building, an enterprise-sized building, a few 100,000 square feet, and it goes and builds a map of the environment. And once you have the map, it will autonomously map the environment. Once you have the map, you store that, and the robot is able to, you can augment that with a CAD floor drawing and know where everything is, and you can even label it and say Collins' office is here, and that location is there. And then it provides a very simple interface, like you do on your sort of Google Maps or iPhone's iOS maps, right? So you just say, here's where I want to go, and the robot goes. And it uses a laser rangefinder and 3D sensing and all these things, very robust solution. And as I said, this had to be FDA approved. And works, we have a lot of mileage on this technology. But that technology is suitable for this kind of products we're talking about, which are providing a lot of value, and you can charge a lot of price, so you have a lot more room for it. For the home robots, this is the Rama robot, robotic floor cleaner, if you're not familiar with it, which is a floor sweeper and mopper. And it does mapping and localization and systematic coverage. And this is a product that starts from $199 price range, retail, to $329. And the rule of thumb in consumer products is that if it's retailing at $199, you have a 5x factor from your cost to retail, right? So it has to cost $40 to build. So how do you put a navigation solution in a robot that costs $40, and the $40 includes batteries, motors, packaging, the plastic parts, and everything, right? Well, we have this Northstar navigation technology, which is known as the world's lowest cost indoor navigation solution, which works like an indoor GPS. It comes with a device on the right hand, the cube, the navigation cube. You put it somewhere in the home, it projects infrared spots on the ceiling. You have a sensor under the diamond that uses that as GPS triangulates, combined with other sensors, and combined with the map information, the robot is able to cover whole floor space. And in this case, for cleaning, doesn't miss a spot. So this is navigation solution at the other range, right? And there's more to come. So one of the areas that we believe is key is visual image recognition and visual pattern recognition. So one of the things we have developed, and by the way, here's one of the areas where I think Google and Microsoft and Amazon and everyone else is now investing heavily in computer vision. And the computer vision community is changing dramatically, and we are able to do things that were unthinkable when I was doing my PhD. So this is a visual pattern recognition technology that is very reliable, very robust, and is used for many different things for us, for manipulation, for navigation, and so on. And here's what it can do.
Coca-Cola, Stella Artois beer. $1, $1, $5, $5, $10.
So this is another vision system we have, which is for object classification. You train it on a limited set of objects in a class, let's say chairs, and the algorithm will learn the generality, and then it show the chair that it has never seen before, and it will recognize it as a chair, or a car, and so on. So recognizing classes, recognizing activities, again by learning patterns that you can generalize on and doing that. One important thing to note here is that you're seeing a lot of these algorithms coming out now today and in cloud and so on. The algorithm that you saw that was recognizing objects and products is embedded in a $3 processor. And that's core, that's key, right? In some cases, you may be able to rely on the cloud, but in many cases, for instance, when you use that for navigation, you have to do it locally. Things that are related to control and safety have to happen locally. There are certain things you can potentially ship to the cloud. And object classification we talked about. So here's a robot that's driving around in a home environment and recognizing objects, and you can imagine once you start recognizing things in the environment, even if you're not able to manipulate yet, that information itself is going to be very useful for many types of application and affecting the behavior of the robot. When people are in this room, maybe you shouldn't be cleaning this room, go to another room and clean it first, and so on. So you can, I'm sure, connect between the dots. And then finally, manipulation. And as I said, manipulation is what I call the missing link in robotics. Once we solve manipulation or find a good enough solution for manipulation, we think things will take off. It's going to be opening up doors for new applications that are not possible today. And what we mean by a good enough solution, it has to be flexible, safe, low cost, payload capable, like power efficient. If you want to have a robot interacting with the elderly in their home, grabbing things and bringing them for them, you can imagine you need to have complete. And my personal intuition is that I'm not an expert in manipulation, but we do have experts, a good group of people in iRobot that are doing very unbelievable things that are on the cutting edge of manipulation, which I can run in the background as I speak, that can handle objects with tactile sensing and feedback. But my intuition is that the right solution to this may require a paradigm shift away from joint and link systems, which is the dominant paradigm in manipulation today, to soft actuation technologies, maybe shape memory alloys or electroactive polymers or pneumatics and balloons and so on. A combination of that. The other thing is that for everything else I talked about in navigation and perception and all these other smarts we're putting in robots, we benefit from a very predictable law, which is Moore's law, because we are in the silicon. Silicon is dictating how far we can go, really. And of course, our capabilities, which is constantly improving. Manipulation is a different animal in the sense that it's mechanical, right? Now imagine if we went from that mechanical, which we don't have a similar nice law like Moore's that says your capability are going to improve every 2 years and so on for half the cost. Imagine if we could put it on the same trend line. If we had electroactive polymers or shape memory alloys becoming the actuators for manipulation, right? And you had some soft-bodied contact points and so on. Could we benefit from Moore's law? Because now we're in silicon. And we are doing a lot of things here. And as I mentioned, and I will repeat it again, if you're doing something that you think is profound in manipulation, we would really love to talk to you. And that's basically where we believe is the next wave coming from, right? So navigation today, for the foreseeable future, will have a huge impact on the products that are to come. And I think it's not only iRobot's products. Today you saw the Google car and many other things. They are navigation related, right? What opens up the opportunity, and I think is much bigger opportunity, is manipulation. Once we get enough of a solution for it, we are gonna do well as a community. So, I usually say this to my team and they laugh at me because I've overused the term. We have come a long way as a community, but there's still a long way to go. But in my involvement in robotics, which has been for prior to 20 years now, I mean, we have moved light years ahead. This is a challenging domain. Not the fastest way to making money, right? And we are not really, most of us are not doing this because only of money. Not that money is bad, we do appreciate it. But we are doing it because we have a passion and I think we want to work on really complex problems. And we need that. We need those brains to work on these problems because there are many of them. So thank you very much for your time. And I think we have maybe potentially a couple of minutes for Q&A.